What is Punisher's role in Spider-Man Brand New Day? Frank Castle explained. Star warning, spoiler warning. I just watched Spider-Man Brand New Day, and one of the biggest surprises wasn't a new villain. It was the Punisher. When Marvel first announced that John Bernthal's Frank Castle would appear in the movie, many fans wondered, why is Punisher in a Spider-Man film? After watching the movie, the answer is actually brilliant. Punisher isn't here just for action. He completely changes Peter Parker's journey and sets up the future of Marvel's street-level universe. Here's why Frank Castle is one of the most important characters in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Peter needs someone different. At the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, Peter loses everything. His friends don't remember him, the Avengers are gone from his life, he's living alone, working a regular job, trying to protect New York by himself. For the first time in years, Spider-Man isn't dealing with multiverse threats. He's back where he belongs, on the streets of New York. And that's exactly where Frank Castle operates. Unlike Iron Man or Doctor Strange, Punisher understands what it's like to fight criminals every single day. Marvel uses Frank to introduce Peter into a darker version of New York, filled with gangs, corrupt organizations, and dangerous criminals. Spider-Man and Punisher are complete opposites. This is what makes their partnership so interesting. Peter believes every life has value. He refuses to kill. He always tries to save people. Frank Castle believes some criminals deserve only one punishment: death. Throughout the movie, the two constantly argue. Whenever Punisher reaches for a gun, Peter tries to stop him. Whenever Spider-Man wants to save a criminal, Frank thinks Peter is making a mistake. Their relationship isn't based on friendship, it's based on conflict. And that's what makes every scene between them so entertaining. The mystery behind Punisher. One of the movie's biggest reveals happens when Frank finally tells Peter something unexpected. He wasn't working alone. He was sent by someone. Frank reveals that a mysterious woman asked him to keep an eye on Spider-Man. The movie doesn't immediately reveal her identity, and that's where the theories begin. Could she be connected to damage control? Could she know Peter's forgotten past? Or is she connected to the mutants being introduced into the MCU? Marvel clearly wants this mystery to continue into future projects. Fighting Hulk together. One of the most exciting action sequences features Spider-Man, Punisher, and Hulk. When Hulk loses control, Frank does exactly what you'd expect. He opens fire. Heavy weapons, explosives, everything he has. Of course, none of it really stops Hulk. Spider-Man takes a completely different approach. Instead of trying to overpower Hulk, Peter uses his intelligence, his webbing, and clever tactics. The scene perfectly shows the difference between the two heroes. Frank solves problems with bullets. Peter solves problems with brains. Frank sees himself in Peter. The movie quietly shows something deeper. Frank Castle understands Peter's pain. Both lost people they loved. Both carry guilt. Both wake up every day trying to protect innocent people. The difference is how they deal with that pain. Frank turned into Punisher. Peter chose to remain Spider-Man. That's why Frank keeps pushing Peter throughout the movie. He's almost asking Peter, how much longer can you keep believing people deserve second chances? It's one of the strongest emotional conflicts in the film. Setting up Marvel's street-level heroes. Punisher's appearance isn't just about this movie, it's about what's coming next. Marvel is clearly building a connected street-level universe. Spider-Man, Daredevil, Punisher, and other New York heroes. Instead of fighting cosmic threats, these heroes are dealing with organized crime, corrupt officials, and dangerous criminals hiding in plain sight. Brand New Day feels like the beginning of that new chapter. Why Punisher was the perfect choice. Marvel could have paired Peter with almost anyone: Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones. But Punisher creates the biggest contrast. Every conversation forces Peter to defend what Spider-Man stands for: hope, mercy, responsibility. Frank challenges every one of those beliefs. Without Punisher, Peter's character wouldn't grow the way he does in this movie. The comic book connection. What's fascinating is that this isn't the first time Spider-Man and Punisher have crossed paths. In fact, the Punisher made his very first comic book appearance in a Spider-Man comic. Back in the Amazing Spider-Man number 129, Frank Castle was introduced as a ruthless vigilante hired to hunt Spider-Man. At the time, Frank believed Spider-Man was a criminal. But after learning the truth, he realized they were actually fighting for the same city, just in completely different ways. More than 50 years later, Marvel has brought that relationship to the big screen. It's a full-circle moment for comic book fans. Instead of introducing Punisher through Daredevil or another hero, Marvel chose to reconnect him with the hero who started it all. That alone makes Brand New Day feel like a love letter to classic Spider-Man comics. Frank becomes Peter's dark reflection. There's another reason Punisher is so important. He represents the Spider-Man Peter Parker could have become. Think about it. Peter has lost Uncle Ben. He lost Aunt May. He lost MJ. He lost Ned. And now the entire world has forgotten who he is. If anyone had a reason to give up hope, it's Peter Parker. Frank Castle went through a similar tragedy. He lost his family. But instead of becoming a symbol of hope, he became a symbol of vengeance. Every time Peter refuses to kill, every time he risks his own life to save someone, Frank silently questions whether Peter's way actually works. The movie never says it directly, but every conversation between them asks one powerful question. Can kindness survive in a world this brutal? That's what makes Punisher more than just another action hero. He's a walking reminder of what happens when grief wins. And Peter knows one bad decision could send him down the exact same path. Could Punisher return? After watching the movie, it definitely feels like Marvel has much bigger plans for Frank Castle. His story doesn't end here. With Daredevil, Spider-Man, and Punisher now operating in the same New York, Marvel finally has the perfect opportunity to build its own street-level version of the Avengers. Imagine future movies where Spider-Man teams up with Daredevil to stop Kingpin, while Punisher hunts criminals using his own brutal methods. Or imagine Peter being forced to stop Frank when his mission goes too far. That would create one of the most emotional conflicts in the MCU. Because Peter doesn't want to fight Frank, he wants to save him. And deep down, Frank probably knows that. That's what makes their relationship so compelling. They're not enemies, they're not exactly friends. They're two broken men trying to protect the same city, just in completely different ways.